Greetings and welcome to your Positive Lens podcast. I'm your host, Scott T, and this is episode 00, the introduction. The focus of this episode is to explain what our mission is at your Positive Lens, how we plan on achieving our mission, what you can expect going forward, and how you can assist us in achieving our mission. Now, many people have asked when we're trying to get this podcast started, why do you want to start this podcast? What is the point? What are you really trying to accomplish? Well, that's what brings us to the question, what is the mission of your Positive Lens? We hope to adjust your focus so you see that members of your local law enforcement community are not much different than you and me. You see, members of the local law enforcement community go to work every day to provide for the families and have to manage a budget just like you and me. They attend and celebrate birthday parties, anniversaries, and holiday parties. They coach children's sports teams. Possibly even your children are being coached by a member of the local law enforcement community today. They have family movie nights or simply just want to spend time with their family, just like you and me. In the morning, they have to wake up the children to get them ready for school, ensure they brush their teeth, brush their hair, put on deodorant, all the things that children are not very good at doing. Only have to come home, prepare dinner, help children get their homework done. Another thing they don't want to do. They'd rather be on their phones, playing games, something other than schoolwork. But then you have to make sure they shower and wash properly. Again, another thing children don't do well, only to get to bed and repeat this the next day, just like you and me. They celebrate the joys of life, like the birth of a child, a kindergartner's first day of school, a high school or college graduation, a child's wedding, and more. But they also experience the pain of having a sick family member who needs care, dealing with a terminal illness, the loss of a family pet, or even worse, the loss of a parent, a spouse, a sibling, or child, just like you and me. Yet they do all this while choosing to enter a workforce where no actions can be taken for granted, no interaction can be viewed as routine, and the safety of life is far from guaranteed. And they do all this so you can go about enjoying your daily routine, knowing they are there to protect you and your family. So how do we at your Positive Lens hope to adjust your focus so you see that members of your local law enforcement community are not much different than you and me? Well, we plan to do this in two key ways. One, we will be sharing positive law enforcement news stories from across the globe, highlighting the positive interactions you have with law enforcement and the acts of kindness that go beyond the scope of the uniform. These stories can be shared by us or by you, as you will have the opportunity to join our show and share your very own positive law enforcement news stories. Secondly, we have a segment titled Getting to Know Your Local LEO. For those of you who are not familiar with the acronym LEO, it simply represents Law Enforcement Officer. Here, we will be having conversations with members of your local law enforcement community about most things non-law enforcement. These individuals may consist of local police, sheriff's deputies, highway patrol, corrections officers, even retired law enforcement officers, and more. By sharing your positive law enforcement news stories and getting to know your local law enforcement officers outside the scope of their uniforms, we hope to adjust your focus so you see that members of your local law enforcement community are not much different than you and me. This will enable us to build better and stronger bridges between law enforcement and the communities they serve. So what can you expect from us going forward. Our goal is to bring you at least one episode per week where we will share your positive law enforcement news stories and have a mostly non-law enforcement conversation with members of the law enforcement community from across the globe. So then the bigger question becomes that everybody wants to know is, how can you help us in achieving our mission? Well, there are three key ways that you can help us. The first one is share the Your Positive Lens podcast with the people you know, friends, family, coworkers, law enforcement officers. Put it on your social media profile. The more that know, the faster we will grow. Second, submit your stories and encourage others to submit their positive law enforcement news stories. You can do this by emailing us at mystory@yourpositivelens.com. That's mystory, MYSTORY, at yourpositivelens.com. Please include your name, email address, and the law enforcement department you are bragging about. And then let us know if you would like to be a guest on our show. We would love for you to be able to share your positive personal law enforcement news story. But if you would like us to share the story, that is fine as well. We just want to ensure your story gets communicated. And then lastly, if you know of a magnificent member of your local law enforcement community that you think would be able to be a guest in our Getting to Know Your Local Leo segment, share their information with us. You will happily reach out to them or their department. Folks, this is the mission of Your Positive Lens. We hope to adjust your focus so you see that members of your local law enforcement community are not much different than you and me. The sharing of positive law enforcement news stories and getting to know your local Leo will help build bigger, better, and stronger bridges in the community. Because after all, what are members of your local law enforcement community? That's right, not much different than you and me. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our introduction episode. We sincerely hope and will be honored if you follow us and listen to our future episodes. Updates of new episode releases will be shared via LinkedIn. Additional listening platforms will be available in the future. Your comments about our episodes are strongly encouraged. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. More importantly, let us know what you didn't like and how we can improve your listening experience. You can always find places that will share negative law enforcement news stories. But here at Your Positive Lens, you will only find positive law enforcement news stories. Once again, I'm your host, Scott T. Thanks for listening, and we'll capture you on your next Positive Lens.